Imagine a world where you can step through a wall, speak volumes in a single sentence, and see layers of reality no one else notices. Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, it's not. Today, we're diving deep into two of the most fascinating concepts you'll ever encounter: dimension and conciseness. And I promise, after this, you'll never look at space or words the same way again. We hear the word dimension all the time. In movies, in science, even in casual conversation. We're living in a different dimension. Or, that idea adds another dimension to the story. But what does it really mean? And then there's conciseness, the art of saying something clearly and effectively without wasting a single breath. In a world overflowing with noise, conciseness is like a laser cutting through the fog. Today, we're going to break down these two powerful ideas in plain language. No complicated formulas, no heavy jargon. Just clear, visual explanations you can instantly understand and remember. By the end, you'll not only know what dimension and conciseness are, but you'll also feel how they work in your life, every single day. What dimension really means. Let's start simple. A dimension is a way of measuring or describing something. Think of it like a category or direction that tells us how something exists or changes. In everyday life, we already use dimensions without realizing it. The length of your desk, the height of your door, the width of your TV screen. Those are spatial dimensions, they describe space. But dimension doesn't only mean physical size. It can also mean a new aspect or perspective. For example, a conversation can have an emotional dimension. A painting can have a symbolic dimension. A problem can have a political dimension. So, when we say dimension, we're really talking about the way something can be measured, experienced, or understood. Dimensions we can see. If you look around your room right now, you're surrounded by three familiar. Length, how far something goes from side to side. Width, how far it goes from front to back. Height, how far it goes from top to bottom. These three dimensions create the space we move through every day. They give everything shape and volume. Without them, objects would just be, well, points with no size. If I asked you to imagine a world with only two dimensions, just length and width, you'd basically be looking at a flat sheet of paper. No up, no down. That's what we call a 2D world. The fourth dimension, time. Now here's where it gets interesting. Scientists often call time the fourth dimension. Why? Because space doesn't make sense without time. Imagine you're describing where your friend will be. You can give the location in length, width, and height, but unless you say when they'll be there, you might miss them completely. In other words, the first three dimensions tell you where something is. The fourth dimension, time, tells you when it is. Time is like the invisible thread stitching all of reality together. We can't see it, but we experience it constantly. Beyond the fourth dimension. In movies, you've probably heard about the fifth dimension or even the 10th dimension. Scientists, especially in theoretical physics, sometimes talk about these higher dimensions as ways of explaining forces and patterns in the universe that we can't see directly. Think about it this way. If a 2D creature lived on a piece of paper, it wouldn't be able to see you holding the paper. It couldn't even imagine up or down. In the same way, we, as 3D beings, can't truly see higher dimensions. We can only imagine them through ideas and theories. Dimensions beyond science. Dimensions aren't just a science thing, they exist in art, thought, and human experience too. In art, dimension can mean depth, perspective, and complexity. A flat drawing becomes richer when an artist adds shadows and perspective. That's adding dimension. You take too long to get to your point, your audience is already gone. That's why the most powerful communicators, leaders, storytellers, teachers master conciseness. Think about it. The best movie trailers make you want to watch in 90 seconds. The most memorable quotes fit on a bumper sticker. The most effective life advice can be a single sentence. Conciseness isn't about being short. It's about being sharp. Conciseness in everyday life. Let's take a few examples. In conversation, if your friend asks how your weekend was, and you tell them every single thing you did from Friday night to Sunday evening, they'll zone out. But if you say, "It was relaxing. I read a great book and had dinner with family," they instantly get the picture. In writing, a bloated email might be 500 words and still confuse people. A concise email could be 50 words and get instant results. In social media, platforms like Twitter/X thrive on conciseness. You have a character limit, so every word matters. Conciseness doesn't mean being empty. A common misunderstanding is that being concise means removing depth. That's wrong. Conciseness is focus. It's keeping only what's essential. You can still be deep and rich in meaning while being concise. In fact, conciseness often makes depth easier to see. Example, instead of saying, "The sun was setting behind the mountains, casting a warm and colorful glow across the sky, filling it with pink, orange, and purple shades that reflected in the calm lake," you could say, "The sunset painted the lake in pink and gold." Both are beautiful, but the second one leaves room for the imagination and is easier to remember. The science of being concise. Conciseness works because of how the brain processes information. Our brains like patterns and clarity. When we get too much extra detail, our working memory gets overloaded, and we lose the core message. That's why concise communication sticks. It's like giving someone a strong, clear signal eye. In different fields, in science, researchers summarize years of work in a short, abstract, so other scientists know exactly what the study is about. In business, elevator pitches are concise. You have 30 seconds to make someone care. In media, say huge. Instead of in a short amount of time, say quickly. Read it aloud. If you run out of breath or lose focus while reading, it's too long. Leave space for the listener. Don't over-explain.